And we've all heard things like what got you here won't get you there, but who's going to help me understand my stage specific challenges for where I'm trying to go next? And a lot of the stuff out there is too broad. It's like, we help you grow, it's very broad. But if Michelle is talking about the sticking points, right, the part that's hard to do before you can grow again, like, pay attention. There are people who have some insights, and of course we love helping them, right?
Welcome to 7 to 8, our special series on 7 to 8 figure entrepreneurs. In this special series, I interview $1 million, some $10 million, and even some $1 million business owners who uncovered their twists and turns in their entrepreneurial adventure in order to help you to avoid the potholes and stick to the fast track. Welcome now to center stage, our next special guest. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nidelek, and I'm super glad that you're here today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Brett. Brett, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thrilled to be here with you. Thanks, Michelle, for having me.
Awesome. So give everybody the highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
Yeah, my name is Brett Gilliland, and I help seven-figure business owners figure out those transitions from what I call 1 to 3 million and 3 to 10 million. Those ones and threes of revenue. They're kind of going from scrappy, gritty founder to capable business building CEO, and there's some stuff in there that gets in the way. And so, yeah, I just enjoy helping businesses in that range figure it out.
Right? Oh, I'm going to absolutely adore this conversation, but let's back up the bus for a little bit before we get into the nitty gritty of it. And how did you get into kind of business as your forte, as your thing?
Yeah, so I know you've heard stories like this before, but I went into employment in large companies, and my master's degree is in organizational behavior, which is just a geeky way to say learning how organizations tick, right? What makes them go, and if you want to get different results, how you make changes in the machine to get better results. And so I went into these big companies, and I just saw how hard it is to make things happen in really big companies. Even if you could see clearly that we're doing some stuff wrong, let's make some changes. And maybe I just wimped out. I was like, this is not for me. I want to go to where I can work with exciting entrepreneurs who can say, today, let's make a change, and tomorrow we're doing it. And it's just a way better place to be with a bunch of creators who want to make stuff happen. So I'm kind of a reformed. I'm not a reformed anything. I spent some time in big companies. I realized that's not for me. And I got into helping smaller businesses. One of those businesses was called Infusionsoft. Today it's called Keep. And I spent 10 years there, and we helped them grow from 7 figures to 100 million, and hired a bunch of people, and won Great Place to Work awards and all that stuff. And it was like, this is who I am. And we started teaching how to build businesses the right way. And that was in 2011. So 12 plus years ago, and been doing it ever since.
I love it. So what made you decide to kind of break away and go and look for the newbies? Because I know when I get a contract and I'm like, and it's finally getting to that sweet spot where, you're almost done with them. And it's like, but it's so much fun now. I finally got you to where I want you to be. It's like, and now
Yeah.
I got to go start with somebody else again. I'm like, oh, right. I remember this problem. Oh, right. I remember starting here.
Well, yeah, Michelle, you probably roll up sleeves and get dirty in the business with them. I decided to do it in a little bit more one-to-many programmatic kind of way,
Yep.
because I just couldn't do that cycle back and start again thing and have it enough reach. Like, I want to help lots of business owners figure this stuff out. So we came up with a scaling method. It's part leadership, part organization development, but it's the two things that they really need to figure out if they want to grow. And so I kind of lucked into it, I guess. We had success doing it ourselves, and then we were serving all these small businesses with software, and they saw how well we were growing and said, hey, could you teach us that stuff? I'm like, sure, we could teach that stuff. And so we started teaching boot camp style, and then we did stuff every quarter, and then we created a community, and it sort of organically grew. And then in 2018, I bought that training and coaching business, and we spun it out so it would be on its own.
I love it. So you say you work with companies that are hitting the $1 million marks, and I get that, and I know we will talk about those. But a lot of entrepreneurs, especially when they're first starting out things, $1 million is the nirvana mark. It's like, once I hit $1 million, my business will be running so smoothly.
Yeah,
You and
yeah.
I both know that doesn't really happen that way.
We're like, chuckle, 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 right? Yeah.
So what kind of issues do you find that people have when they're in kind of in those right before they get to those precipices of and why are they there, I guess?
Yeah, well, let's at least honor that part of the journey that,
Right.
you know, start up to 1 million. It's incredible. There's a few stages in there. I like those ones and threes of revenue, like I alluded to earlier. So let's call it 0 to 100,000. There's kind of a true startup thing. Then 100,000 to 300,000, 300,000 to 1 million. Every time they're tripling, they sort of outgrown what that machine can do, and they need to shift to the next level. And the $1 million mark, it's sort of nirvana for those business owners, because it represents getting that thing off the ground and learning how to get and serve customers or clients or patients or whatever they call them in that business. And it is successful. Like, you did it. You're like a local success story now. Good job. But then, as you know, and you also alluded to, there's a next set of challenges that they have to figure out. And right at the crux of that is this kind of like the separating of Siamese twins, like where we separate the identity of the business owner from the identity of the business. And we say, this business deserves to have life and identity separate from the business owner. And
That is the best analogy I've heard of that
you
ever.
like that? Yeah,
I like that.
totally.
That is
That's how it
so
is.
true because it is such an emotional decision. Like it is to a lot of people, it's cataclysmic. And I think that that's the reason why most businesses fail in that kind of 5-year mark is because they have to make that decision or, it won't grow. And as if it's not going to grow, it's going to die.
That's right. And you and I have both seen many business owners who just burn out eventually. They're trying to keep this thing that they so carefully built. They worked so hard to build every single inch of this. And I keep referencing a machine, right? But they sort of build this thing that knows how to get and serve customers, but they're right at the heart of it. And they've got their fingers in every piece of it. And that's the way it works. And until they learn how to separate themselves from it, not to become some sort of absentee business owner that doesn't care about the business, but just to be able to enable that thing to grow without them touching every single part. It is really hard. And there's emotional connection like you alluded to, but there's also like just very practical capacity issues going on here where that business owner can't do any more than they're doing. And so then it stops and then they start to burn out. And then it often settles back into a more reasonable range for them, which is lower revenue, fewer people, and they can either maintain something there for a while or they shut it down.
Crash and burn. And now there's also, and we will get into what you do with it. I just want to kind of allow people to understand that there are levels to this, and without the right proper guidance, we tend to crash because we just don't know what we don't know. And I see a lot of business owners, if they do manage to build the business on their own to that point, then they're sitting in their office going, well, okay, what do I do? Do I, take up origami? Like, what do I do now? How do I run this? And I'm like, if you can figure out how to get there, that to me is the nirvana of business, is being able to focus on those CEO roles of visionary and how do we bring more money in and how do we strategize what that looks like to them. Is that your kind of fun place to play as well, or is there a different place that you love to play?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I mentioned there's really two big levers. I mean, I'm oversimplifying here, but one lever is we have to mature in our, let's call it our leadership and people processes and systems organizationally. There's some things that we have to learn how to do. And that comes from needing to coordinate effort across a growing team. Right? It's getting more and more complex to coordinate effort, make sure we're all clear on where we're going, we're aligned to it, and we're coordinating that effort. So there's things like meeting rhythms, and nobody likes meetings, right? But there are ways for us to be intentional together as a team and coordinate effort. And that requires some organization, structure, process kind of stuff. And then the other big lever is leadership. I can't just be, the perfect, I don't know, electrician or dentist or lawyer or whatever. Like I have something that I've mastered. I have a craft, I have an expertise. I'm an artisan, whatever. But now I have to learn how to lead people. And that's different. And a lot of business owners get stuck on that, or they have no interest in it. They sort of think more people, more headaches, or more people, more problems. And if you lead from that place, that's absolutely true. But if you learn how to see the amazing potential in all of these people and unlock some of that potential in a way that they're excited about building a co-created future with you, like there's so many possibilities. And you could go from being kind of self-employed and having a job that you've created to, oh, I'm a real entrepreneur. I'm creating new stuff with more impact. And all these people are excited and part of it, right? Like, anyway, I get a little excited about this and I'm going on too long, but
I know you're not. You're doing great.
yeah.
And I think there's a misnomer out there that when people hit that kind of what I'm going to call a breaking point in a business, and you can't do it the way you've done it anymore, because you
Right.
start to notice, like, I'm either going to go insane and kill somebody, or we're closing the doors. Like we're at the precipice here. And then there's a third option. Stop. It really, at that point, does come down to mindset, because we think that we know everything at that point. It's like, yeah, I've run a successful business. I'm awesome. I know how to run team meetings. This is great. And then all of a sudden it's not so great. Like, oh, how do I get past this point? And for me, in my businesses in the past, it was always kind of 6 months later that I got the piece of information that I needed 6 months ago that would have really helped to know that. So how do business owners kind of see what those red flags are and go, oh, Brett, come here, step
Yeah,
in,
well,
help me.
I mean, if you're open enough to be listening to a podcast like this, good for you, right? Step number one, how do I start to seek the information, the mindsets, the point of view that might help lead me to a breakthrough? And then if you take things like the hints that we gave of the 1s and 3s of revenue, if you're approaching one of those, just know the next thing's coming, right? Like and it's not to scare people, and it's not exactly perfect. It's not at 1,000,001 of revenue that this happens, but it's around those 1s and 3s that the organizational complexity is shifting. And you're going from learning and doing everything to now I'm leading people. And that 3 to 10 million journey is about, well, I got to actually lead leaders. I got to start to build a leadership team. And it's just knowing what's coming that's super helpful. And so I guess I would listen to podcasts, read, right? Go out there and see what things are out there, because there are people who get what's coming ahead of you. And we've all heard things like, what got you here won't get you there, but who's going to help me understand my stage specific challenges for where I'm trying to go next? And a lot of the stuff out there is too broad. It's like, we help you grow, it's very, very broad. But if Michelle is talking about the sticking points, right, the part that's hard to do before you can grow again, like, pay attention. There are people who have some insights, and of course we love helping them, right?
Exactly. So talk to me about who your ideal client is now, and kind of what problems they have that you love to fix.
Yeah, ideal client for us at Elite Entrepreneurs is, and the reason we name our business Elite Entrepreneurs is that it's only about 3 to 5% of businesses that ever figure out that $1 million nirvana point, right? Like, it's relatively few that get there. So we're calling them elite. Like, okay, now you're an elite heir. Congratulations. And it's hard. Like, there's new things to figure out. And so our ideal client is one who's growth oriented, both for themselves as a leader and for their business, who's at that 7-figure mark, or like they're sniffing it, like it's fast approaching, and are starting to realize that, hey, as this grows, I have to figure out some things in order to keep growing. certainly we love to help people who are kind of in that 7-figure ER room, that they're feeling some real pain. They're saying, okay, emergency, we can't do this. We can help those. It's really fun though to get an enlightened leader who's sort of proactive on this stuff and going, I know there's stuff coming. I don't want to fall prey to those common pitfalls. Teach me how to go through that a little less bumpy. That's super fun. But any 7-figure business owner who has to grow with a team, like if you're an information marketer, you have an online membership product and it's scaled to 2-3 million, good for you. And you're just doing it with 2 or 3 VAs and you don't want to, and you don't need to hire people to make this thing go. That's not our target. Our target is businesses that require hiring and building teams of people in order to scale, and the challenges that come with that. We're really good at that.
Right. So what is it about the teams in particular? You mentioned leadership and team meeting cadence, things like that. What other things do you find are aspects that are key that typically entrepreneurs aren't aware of?
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to some basic organization effectiveness concepts. Okay. And you and everybody listening will see how this applies to personal effectiveness. If you look at somebody who's successful in their life personally, or you look at a business that's successful, there's a couple common things that go on there. One is they don't just there's not a default future, I just roll out of bed and it happens to me type of thing. There's some what?
That's so sad.
There's some intentionality is the way I'm trying to, like, their vision, there's intention, we intend to go do this thing. And in an organizational sense, the entrepreneurs who figure out how to enroll their team in a co-creative process to go declare that future and then organize effort to go make it happen together, they have way more fun and way more success achieving it. So intentionality, and then the other lever is the discipline one. And again, it's like a no word with entrepreneurs. We don't want constraints. We're like, I just want to go wherever I feel like going. And that freedom's amazing. And the chaos that you create operating that way, it's not the best environment for your team to thrive and for you guys to pull together towards a winning formula, right? So some intentionality, some discipline, and the discipline comes with things like some structure around what are our winning metrics or KPIs, what for the team, for the company, for the team, and for each individual, what are their three measurable things that they own in their role, and some accountability around that. So I would help set up some structure and process around organizing work and around coordinating effort that makes a huge difference as we're growing.
So when it comes to somebody's working with you, what does that typically look like? Is it the founder that's going in and going, okay, let's work on this and let's get it together? Or do you come in and work with kind of the top team, whatever that might look like with them? Because I'm assuming at that point, if they're a team-based growth company, that they're going to have somebody that's kind of in a leadership role in some capacity other than themselves. Do you go and, like, how do you operate there?
Yeah, I love the question. And again, we're just getting to know each other, but I get the sense that you really get in with the team and help them figure these things out. So I don't go into their business. I invite them into our one-to-many things, right? So we have an education or content piece where we teach our method. And then we have ongoing coaching and community where the people who are working to implement that method are getting the support and resources that they need. So it's not a CEO group purely. In fact, not at all. It's for the business owner and their teams. And so we're inviting their key people in with them to learn this with them, to create it with them, to go back and implement it with them. And that's that increases the likelihood of success a ton, right? When you have some other people enrolled. Because we all know what it's like for a business owner to go to a conference or hear a podcast or whatever and come back excited about stuff, but they have to translate all of that excitement into like understandable and organized plans to implement something, and they're not always the best at doing that, and then they get distracted with something else, or the chaos of the business takes over, and then we're kind of back to where we were. So yeah, it's a community of 7-figure business owners and their key people who are learning and growing together and doing this work.
And are you, just purely out of curiosity, are you doing at this point in time, and keep in mind, peeps, depending on when you listen to this whole thing may have changed, but right now, are those like live events? Are they, what do those look like?
So we do live events. Last month, I did just a free training webinar type of thing that was open to any business owner who might have heard about it. So we do some free, open to everyone kind of stuff. Our initial education or training piece around our method is over a 1-month time frame. So it's a weekly thing for a month, and they learn the basics, and we get the foundation going, and that's virtual. 2 hours a week for 4 weeks. And then our ongoing community has a mix. So we have quarterly 2-day events. They're ideally in person. Thanks to the pandemic, we have people who are used to attending things virtually. And so, we have a 70-person event February 1st and 2nd that will have like 60 people in person and 10 people attending virtually, right? So it's some in person, some virtual, but we try to do two days a month, 2 days a quarter in person. We'll do a monthly workshop that's virtual, open office hours or group coaching calls that are virtual. So it's a combination.
Nice. I love it. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you about an example of a Cinderella story of one of your clients. But before we do that, we are going to go for a pause.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.
So I am super excited to hear an example of a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
Okay, well, I'm super excited to share one. The one that popped into my mind immediately when you asked is a husband and wife, actually, and that happens a lot in small business. Mm-hmm. So Eric and Janet Sparrow, they are the owners of a company called Milk House Candles. They're based out of the Midwest. They're in Iowa, and they mass produce and sell soy-based candles. Okay, so in order to do that, they have to grow teams of people to produce an increasingly large number of these candles and ship them out wherever they're sold and do all the work, right? So Eric was a 3rd grade teacher, I think 3rd grade, I know it was elementary school, and he came to us. He had started this side hustle, this candle making business in his house, and he grew it he outgrew his house. And Janet is an occupational therapist, or was, and supporting Eric in this, and now they've got a space, and they're doing $1 million in revenue, but they're starting to feel kind of tapped out. So they come to one of our early events where they learn our scaling method. And the very first place we start, which we haven't talked about yet, Michelle, is the purpose. It's like, why? Why does any of this matter? Why am I excited about this? What's the meaning? What's the impact? And we started to talk about that with their candles, and they just lit up. No pun intended with the candles, right? They were on fire. And all of a sudden, Janet, who's been working full time in her career that she trained for, started to think about working more in the business. And Eric could see more clearly how to build this thing. Anyway, long story short, through the pandemic, through learning these very proven path types of things, they went from 1 million to 3 million to 10 million. In the pandemic, he sent me a fun note, and who knows, maybe the pandemic helped this candle business, but he was closing out the year at 17 million. They did 10 million the year before. They're at 17 million. And then, in the last couple of years, he told me that they were crossing over that 30 million mark. And I look at Eric and Janet Sparrow, just good people with a family, trying to make things work. And now he employs communities in small parts of Iowa, right, where they're surrounded by these soy plants, soy fields, and they're making candles that are less detrimental to the environment. Like they're really passionate about these soy-based candles and how much more beneficial it is to use this kind of product versus the paraffin wax that just pollutes our planet. So anyway, they got really clear on their purpose, and then we armed them with some tools and processes and systems that would enable them to do something on a much larger scale than they could otherwise. And they're obviously big fans of ours, and and we're big fans of theirs. And there's lots of stories I could tell, but that's the one that came to mind when you asked.
Nice, I love it. So you mentioned that they hit typical stumbling blocks that an entrepreneur is hitting at that point is they recognize that they're getting to that 1 or 3 or figure mark, or they're starting to notice that their systems just kind of aren't keeping up with where the business is going, or they've hit that kind of glass ceiling of we're trying, but it's not breaking past that. Is there any other stumbling block that an entrepreneur might be having and they're thinking, oh my God, Brett, I need you so badly?
Yeah, so anything related to, I just can't hold, like I have a hard time holding my team accountable, or why can't I get them to think and act like owners? And they're just more problems, more headaches. If the people issues are starting to weigh you down, you're like, it was just easier when there were only 3 of us. I actually took home more money back then. And you want to settle back. If you have any desire to go back to when it was smaller and easier, that might be an indication, right? That's the good smoke that there's some fire there that we could really help you with.
I love it. So I know our listeners can relate to that. So, and they're going to want to start a journey with you. How do they begin that journey?
Our website is called growwithelite.com, growwithelite.com. You can certainly reach out there, and on LinkedIn, you can find me. Although there is another Brett Gilliland on LinkedIn, and we both have podcasts. We sort of have interviewed each other now for our respective podcasts. So not the one based in the Kansas City area. I'm in the Phoenix area, and my handle on LinkedIn says "Built to Last Champ," because I just love Jim Collins' Built to Last concepts, and I love helping businesses build great enduring companies. So that's the right one to find.
I love it. We will, of course, have all of Brett's links in the show notes. So go ahead and scroll down, click on his links, open them up in a new browser, of course, because we're not done yet. So, Brett, I get to ask you, at what point in life did you know you were special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I kind of stumbled into that because I was a self-employed consultant, really, and bent on helping these smaller businesses I think I'm going to help them avoid all those big company problems, because I'm going to help them build it the right way. And so when I stumbled into this Infusionsoft Keep story, that client, I'm like, I like what's going on here. And I joined, and I spent 10 years helping them grow. And then this training and coaching business grew inside of that company for 5 or 6 years. And then I bought it and spun it out. So I fell in love with the work a long time ago. I didn't realize I would own a business. And, now, I mean, we're not hundreds of people in our training and coaching business, but there are 7 of us, and we're growing, and we're going through the same stages that we're teaching about. So it's fun.
Yeah. Business is business, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
I love it. You've been absolutely awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
I guess my last word is just one of encouragement. Entrepreneurs are the reason that we have everything in front of us, from the technology to do this Zoom meeting to this, this microphone, or the fan above me from my ceiling. Like, it all happened because somebody had ideas and somebody took risk to make those ideas real. And I just honor that. And I hate to see that get bogged down or diminished in any way or snuffed out altogether because they couldn't figure out some of the company building work that gets frustrating or gets in the way. So I just honor all of you for doing what you're doing. And there are ways to grow a business that doesn't take you down in the process.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it immensely, and I know how valuable it is.
You're welcome. It was fun to be here. Thanks, Michelle.
Awesome. Peeps, this is Michelle Nedlock. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show, share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow. Thank you for listening to 7 to 8. If you're interested in upping your speaking game, be sure to connect with our guests with the links in the show notes and connect with me to see how we can help you get your tech done for you and help your speaking dreams come true.